Hello and welcome back to another video here. So in today's video I'm going to be talking about actually a 3-day weekend I had where there's a big snowstorm. I think about almost 10 inches total of snowfall occurred, and I did some backyard birding and took lots of photos, so I feel like it's just a good experience to share with you here. And I'm also going to be going through some tips to take similar backyard bird photography photos as well. And so let's just go ahead and get started here. So the first day I basically just simply scouted around and scoped around my backyard and really see what kind of species I could get. And so I got about 10 of them total here. I'm using the eBird app, which I would highly recommend, paired up with the Merlin app as well, which is from Cornell Lab of Ornithology. And so the first 10 species, just your run-of-the-mill stuff for backyards and everything. The second day though is actually when I went out and I got some really eye-level perspectives with a lot of the sparrows and everything out there as well, and actually racked up about 21 species, which is pretty awesome. And the highlights that day, because I think that's the biggest checklist I ever had here in my backyard, were American tree sparrow, red-breasted nuthatch, and actually hairy woodpecker, which was pretty cool to see all three of those. It really made me appreciate, I guess, the species that may not see otherwise and stuff that may be harder to find as well. And then the third day was probably the most quiet one. I didn't have many individuals at all in total, but I did have about 10 species once again. And so it was a pretty great experience. It made me really appreciate backyard photography and birds in general, because it's something that it's oft forgotten because I'm always trying to travel around and see, of course, new locations. But it's really taught me to see really what's out there and just, really, right outside my door quite literally. So I think there were some really great experiences though, just seeing the birds up close. Like I said, get some eye-level shots and everything was great too. So let me go through some tips here of different gear and stuff that I use, and stuff that I feel like it could really help out when you're getting started for doing backyard wildlife viewing. Like I mentioned that first day in particular, but I did this for all 3 days, basically just around the clock viewing on this particular weekend, is that I used a spotting scope. Now this one, it's pretty affordable. I think it's about $50 or $60, and it works out pretty well just for being a beginner kind of set of optics. And I actually paired it up with a carbon fiber tripod, or any tripod could do. Basically you want any sort of stability so that you can actually look through the eyepiece and not be hand holding it and shaking it around and everything. And so that's what I would recommend, but you don't have to get anything that's terribly fancy. Mine just happens to be carbon fiber, and I keep it here just to just basically have it already aimed at and focused in on the bird feeders or whatever your setup may be. And so you basically just view through it and it's got a little lens hood and just keep debris, I guess, out of it, and that is, and a magnification, a little dial here on the front. But most spotting scopes are pretty much the same in the sense of how much they, how they work, I guess. But just get yourself a decent one if you can. Or you can also use binoculars, which are much more portable, and you can just drape them around your neck and everything. And especially if you're on the move. But for a backyard setup, I usually prefer to use a spotting scope, honestly, if I'm using anything to really just look at the birds at all. But binoculars work, of course, as well. And then if you have lots of woods or stuff, if your backyard's very, very large in size, then you may want to get some stuff for your footwear so that you don't slip on the snow or ice. And so I recommend these. They're called Catula micro spikes, or any kind of shoe spikes work. And they have different sizes, small, medium, large, and they're basically like a elastic, so they can adjust to the size of your footwear. So I've used these on trail running shoes and boots alike, and they work pretty well for both. And then this is a little bit of a do-it-yourself project, but you can also buy them commercially made. But this is what it's called, a ground pod, and it allows you to get some eye-level perspective shots of shorebirds, which probably isn't your backyard, but in this instance it worked out real well for getting these eye-level views of different sparrows and finches. And I have it paired up with a Jabu Junior Design gimbal head, and basically it's just a frying pan with a hole drilled through it, and then a bolt matched to size, and it just pairs up pretty nice, and you can pretty much work it pretty much anywhere you want to get this really nice looking shots. So next thing I recommend, this costs a little bit, but you can still get a pretty affordable one if you want. But this is chest waders, which I feel like when you're just laying down the snow, it's just the best thing to have to keep yourself both warm and just keep the snow and debris, maybe even mud, off of you, of course. So these are insulated. They're from Frog Togs, just real tree camouflage. They're kind of big and massive, but I mean, it's just like an entire piece, as you could imagine, for a chest waders. And so these were great in, if I'm wading through the marshes and stuff, but they also work in winter, of course, here too. Even just, simply in my backyard, just to keep, snow and debris outside of your shoes and just everything included, basically. And then when it comes to different, just, I guess, clothing to wear, I just pair up on gloves, multiple pairs even if you can. Hand warmers even work too. This is like a fleece buff that you can wear. You can wear it basically as anything you want. It's pretty versatile, so you can wear it as a headband. I particularly use this as a neck warmer because it just feels like your neck's so exposed, no matter how many like pairs of jackets you have zipped up or anything of that. And then just a bunch of these beanies and stuff, just nice acrylic stuff or even wool, whatever you may prefer, I guess. And then if it's like blowing drifting snow or it's just severely cold and you want to keep your entire head warm, I guess, you can use one of these like ski masks, and it has like fleece on the neck once again, and has like little breathing, I guess, holes or whatever, and then like a nose gap on some of the, the higher end models, I guess. But yeah, I mean, so I think that's pretty much it with that stuff. Just basic winter stuff, and of course your camera and telephoto lens or whatever you may use for your camera setup. But the photos I got were really awesome. I'd say the highlights were probably the red-bellied woodpecker shot of it, just a simple profile view of it as it scaled up my silver maple tree. And then I also got some of the juncos, the house finches, some of the female cardinals. And for an hour or two spent outdoors, I'm really surprised with the results. And they're some of my favorite images now, quite frankly. And so it just took a little bit in post-production, though, to edit out any kind of like bird seed or any debris, because, against the clean white snow, it just had all these little bits of distractions and stuff that I wanted to clean up basically the photographs in post-production. But that's a stylistic choice. If you're just merely documenting species, then I don't think it really matters in your case necessarily. But for me, I'm trying to make a nice photograph that's, pleasing to look at more so. So a lot of the images I did clean up to make it look more like just a clean, minimalist, almost high-key looking image of just the bird portrait and then all the snow surrounding it in the backdrop. So there's lots of options with these kind of images, but I think that's pretty much it for this. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching, everyone. And until next time, make sure you get out to your backyard and take some images and keep birding. Thank you.